Excel graphing video. The stuff in here is very similar to the numbers. I know I only have a few people using numbers right now, and it seems like everyone who is using numbers is okay. If you need a video on how to put a graph into your numbers program on the Mac, please send me a message in the discussion. So I'm just going to be focusing on Excel. So this is assuming that you have your T-table already put into Excel. Again, if you need help with that, there's another video in the news feed. First thing is that in here your data has to be entered just in numbers. If you put something in like for Celsius or $4, this is not going to be able to graph. Excel needs just a number to make the graph for you. So as we start, I'm going to click and hold. Really important you hold it down. The first top right button, where the X is, that's your independent variable. I just do it the same each time. Go over to how many columns you have and highlight the entire graph. Now you can see that's blue. Coincidentally, if you have any additional, let me just insert one here. If you have any additional spaces that are in between, cancel. If you have any gaps, I'll just get rid of that. If you have any gaps in between, so like if you have a blank space in between month and rainfall, it's going to mess up your graph. It's not going to work. So what you can do is you can actually right click on the column that you want to delete and then just go down to delete and it'll take it out. Okay, these have to be right next to each other like in a T-table. So what I do is I highlight it, and on the Mac I can just go right to charts, and I see on the left hand side at the top all my different types of charts. If you're using a PC, you're going to go to something that says insert. There's a tab on the top that says insert, and just look for anything that says charts and you'll get these exact same icons here. So the first one I'm going to show you is how to do a histogram or a bar chart, and you need to use the ones that are on the left. Don't worry about these stacked ones, they don't work very well for what we're doing. So I'm going to do a 3D clustered column. You notice how I get a title on this one. So in here I'm going to double click on it, okay, and now I can go in here. Oh, it's going to stall out. Come on. It's going to let me go in and edit that. Cancel. There we go. So I just click on it. Now remember, your graphs must have the same title as your T-table. So this is average monthly rainfall in Bali. Okay, and I make sure that it looks nice. Take the time. And then I can actually move it so I can center it over. I'm also going to make this chart a little bit smaller. Okay, I want it to look nice and tight. And you notice how it changes the bottom scale. If I go in too tight, it'll only write what it can do. You want to make your graph so it's legible, right? So that's pretty much it. Now I've got a bar graph. Now we also noticed from one of our students, if you click on one of those bars, so I just double clicked, I go click, click, I can actually change this gap width to 0. And what's going to happen is now I have a histogram. Okay, so that's a pretty cool trick. You can go in here and customize things. You'll notice that the shading of the highest one is already a little different. If you go format the data series, you can change the picture. What's the color? You can turn it into a blue if we want. You can even turn it into something really quite bizarre like red. And up at the top, they have predetermined styles. Okay, so over here, it's going to give me all different colors. I can do whatever I want. Choose it how you like. Okay, so this is a histogram. Okay, now you start to see why the range is important. Same data, I could also do a line graph. So I highlight it, click on the one I want. I'll do a 3D one. Why not? Okay, so there's my data. I'm not a big fan of that chart. I don't find it very easy to read. So let's just do a standard one. Fantastic. Now choose one. Which one shows the data more clearly for you? I'm going to stay with the histogram. Now the other thing that we will come up against is when we're graphing two dependent variables, like your highs and low. Same thing, I'm going to highlight it, but watch what happens here. If I go to do a line graph, stacked, I'm missing something, okay, that I'd had in the other one that I don't have now. And that has to do with my y-axis. Okay, I don't have the title on this graph because the title is by default is going to be your y or your your dependent variable, which is the answer. So in this one, you can set it up, and if it's right next to your t-table, I won't expect you to put the title on, but if you can, just type it in if you need to, but here it's pretty obvious that these are both under this same title. Alright, and play around with it, guys. There's no right or wrong. Like, you can even go for a cylinder graph if you want. No chart data. It's telling me I have to highlight my data first. Column, cylinder. Yeah, it's kind of boring. You choose which ones you like, play around with the colors, have some fun, and I look forward to seeing your projects on Wednesday. Thanks, guys.